let's talk about the best faculty observation tool available.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. And as always, the thoughts and opinions expressed within this episode are those of your hosts and not necessarily the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
And I'm Mark Zockoll. Today, we bring to you another one of those, hey, would you guys talk about this sort of reach out episodes? It wasn't that long ago. I will say it was back in 2025. But we got asked to offer some thoughts on teacher evaluation forms. And really specifically, the thought was for classroom evaluations. So, Good morning. I'm looking for a solid, comprehensive teacher evaluation form. I picked one up at the KCA conference, but I'm wondering if you might have more detailed version that you could share with me. And so there was some back and forth between myself and this individual. And what I wound up doing, of course, because for all those of you listening, you're going to have one, I'm sure. Or if you don't, you probably have some thoughts on what it is that you like to see in yours. And Matt does, and I did. And so we can provide examples and walk through them. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to walk through some examples here, what we think is useful, what we don't think would be useful, what we found helpful in the past, and things like that. That's how we're going to go today. Matt, anything else you want to say about this before we move along into it?
No, I think this is going to be one of the more practical things to talk through, because we as administrators want to make sure that we are doing our job, and that's supporting our faculty and letting them know how good of a job they're doing, or the opposite.
Or not. Absolutely. Or not. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hear from our partners in this, and then we will come right back.
This episode is brought to you by our partners at the Herzog Foundation, whose mission aligns beautifully with ours to advance and support Christ-centered education. The Herzog Foundation exists to catalyze excellence in Christian schools, helping more children experience academic rigor, biblical truth, and strong moral character, all in a safe and nurturing environment. Whether through teacher training, principal development, or strategic media efforts, the Herzog Foundation is committed to helping you, the Christian school leader, fulfill your calling with excellence. Their vision is bold but clear: a national renaissance in Christian education that impacts culture for generations. At the Christian Principles Podcast, we're proud to stand with the Herzog Foundation in that mission. Learn more at herzogfoundation.com. Together, we're building schools and futures on the rock of Christ. And as always, tell them that the fellas here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you their way. Do you need a student information system that's easy for staff and parents to use and yet won't break the bank? That's exactly what GradeLink offers. It's designed to be super straightforward with great support if you ever need a hand. So if you're looking for a no-fuss, stable solution that just works, head over to cpp.gradelink.com and give it a look. All right, you're getting out of your office and you're heading over to those classrooms, and what are you looking for? That's what
are you? I guess let's start there. Are you actually doing that? This is the Principals Podcast, so yes, more than likely, if we have principals listening to this, then they're the ones doing it. And in many situations, of course, if the school is of a size that they aren't overburdened by administrators, then yeah, probably the head of school, the administrator, that person's probably also doing a little bit of classroom review. So we are shooting at those right now who are going to be involved in this part of the job. But Matt, even a head of school, should they completely get rid of this role? I mean, should this be a delegated role from the head of a school?
Oh man, I feel like here we go. We're making the topic bigger than what we were setting out to do. Here we go. But
it's bad.
No, I think regardless, I think this is a good way to, before we even start building the Sunday, is this is very similar. When I left teaching to become the administrator, one of the things was I don't want to no longer be in that classroom and have that connection.
Sure.
I don't think you ever want to get higher up in administration and lose touch with your faculty. I think
Mhm.
you have to be there. Um, at least at the very least, you're checking in with them one on one.
Mhm.
Maybe you're not getting into an actual classroom review while they're teaching, but I mean, so that's taking into consideration that you have somebody else doing that. But
Mhm.
but yeah, I think there always needs to be that form of checking in and staying connected. I think that's what grounds us as administrators.
And if we do it barefoot, I hear we're even more grounded.
Just throw some soil down on the school
If we
hallways.
if we do it barefoot while in trouble, we'll be grounded while grounding
Yeah,
and
wow,
ground. All right.
wow.
Okay. First up, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you three different opportunities for you. Like if you were just going to go and Google something, then
Yep.
Matt's got one he's going to talk us through, and then we're going to talk about each of the strengths of each one of these because again, we're not going to just hand you one and say this is the one you ought to use, but hopefully from this you will pull away what it is that when you go into a classroom and you have something with you besides a blank piece of paper, what is that tool? What does this faculty review or classroom observation tool look like? So here on JotForm, the website is one of the teacher performance appraisal assessment forms. You can come up with all kinds of different acronyms for these. But very simple: name, subject, assessment period. This looks like it was filled in afterwards because it's all a form that you then see uploaded to a sheet somewhere and probably fill in with that teacher's ongoing sheet from their professional review. And it says punctuality, classroom management, subject knowledge, teaching effectiveness, communication skills, and student engagement. The punctuality and let's say communication skills, those may be seen outside the classroom, but the classroom management, subject knowledge, teaching effectiveness, and student engagement, those have to be seen within the classroom. Now, I'll say I like the simplicity of this.
Mm-hmm.
Easily digestible. I'm not going to give 5 stars to everybody, and everybody's going to understand that nobody's going to get 5 stars. So wherever you see a 3 or a 4 or a 2, you should, pick up and but this does give the opportunity for someone who is overworked to still have a meaningful record. And there's value in that. And so
Yeah.
for many of those of you listening, something this easy, don't shy away from it. Even though it looks elementary, don't shy away from something this easy because at least it's something out there. If you're just getting started, start here. No problem. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, the simplicity is going to be the big thing that I'm gonna push because when you go into a classroom, if you got to remember, there's two things. One, that you're going in and you're creating a abnormal situation already in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and that teacher is sweating bullets because you're evaluating them. But if you are constantly looking down at what you have in front of you and writing like 100% of the time, like what are they writing?
Mm-hmm.
That's just throwing everything off. So I love the simplicity that I can walk in and as soon as I've got a good rating in my mind, I can just check it. I don't have to, fill in the whole star. I don't have to, do a lot. Just I can check that down and maybe off to the side, or I know there's a place at the bottom for additional comments. If there,
Yeah.
I could just, put a highlighted note or something that I can go back and revisit and do my writing up after the observation. So keeping it simple is really good. The other thing I think I'll say here just to make sure that we are clear moving forward, this also provides the understanding from the faculty side what you are looking for. So the faculty will have a chance to see this before you've come and be able to say, hey, I've got to make sure these are the things I'm knocking out of the park. Which I mean, that's what we should always do every
Now
day.
who
But
now who's taking us too far outside the scope of what we're
well,
talking about today?
I'm just I know when we're getting to talk about what all should be included in these lists, you could literally just create. Well, you said about like the blank sheet of paper. A blank sheet of paper is no good really for anybody because you could literally pick out anything and
Mm-hmm.
faculty aren't going to be prepared. At the same time, you could go the other way where you've got so much to look for and you've got so much on that list to keep track of that it's equally not that valuable. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just speaking again to that simplicity is valuable in way more ways than just it's a simple list.
Well, maybe one of the ways we can further qualify this is just to kind of axe out things we're not talking about. Our good friend, Dr. Stephen Lamkin at Salisbury Christian School in Salisbury, Maryland, he would talk about how his doctoral work was done on videotaping classrooms as opposed to formal classroom observations, not in replacement of, but just as an ancillary tool, and then reviewing it with the teachers. And I'm sure if he's still practicing that, then that's what he would espouse as a form, as opposed to walking in with an observation tool. Perhaps you have an antipathy, or you do not like writing, like Matt said, while someone else is speaking. You want to engage them. You want to let your senses be open to the classroom, and then you want to download your thoughts in a literally 10-minute session, 10-minute writing session, immediately leaving that classroom. Okay, again, whatever, no problem. What we're setting up here and the rest of the time we're talking, hopefully without more qualification, is just the tool for those 90+% of administrators who are going to walk in with something in front of them.
That's what we want.
And this, again, something else to say what this is not discussing your process of letting teachers know before what it is you're walking in with, or the fact that you should be meeting with them afterwards and then giving them a chance for self-evaluation at the same time. Like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this
tool,
stupid piece of paper in front of us, because that's what we were asked to talk about. So, but there's a lot more to talk about. Again, we can talk about any one of these pieces we talk about for a whole episode. Let's keep going. So if I go over here to, this is the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Just wanted to pull this in as a, what do we want to say, like a more, I don't want to say grounded again, but developed, already put out there. Obviously, this is a process from step 1 to step 5. But if you were to click on this observation evidence collection tool, what you would find is what you see in front of you now. So we have the educator's name, title, the school, the plan duration. This is, of course, accepting that a teacher's in a development plan, which they all would be to some extent. And then we have observation evidence, which this is pretty much wide open with the question, what did the educator and students say and do? And then feedback to the educator below, and standards for indicators for effective teaching practice rubric outline, and they could comment on that to some extent. So here is a tool that is technically, at the same time, much more specific on the surrounding and much less specific on the content of the actual observation. But, there you go. For our last tool, we'll flash up here on the screen for you. Have this teacher performance appraisal form. Again, you can go online and find one of these rather quickly. Here is one that, Matt, you were saying about having to write the whole time, which you don't want to be doing necessarily. You would be looking for some very, very specific things if you had this in front of you. So everything from communicational clarity, listening clear, realistic objectives attainable by children, chalkboard work, teacher-pupil interaction that makes the lesson concept interesting to kids, uses of the whole class demos, explanation of lesson, review of lesson, maintenance of classroom discipline. Like, man, this was written by, this was not written by an art teacher turned administrator. This was written by a math teacher turned administrator, or this was written by like computer stats teacher. Like, this is something that someone has created for themselves. This does not look like to me like it came from a kit, or it came from a recommendation from a book. This looks like somebody who's been doing it for a while, and they created their own because this is what they look for anyway, and they already know 1 through 20 what they're looking for. But otherwise, I would not try to learn this one. This one seems to be overkill, in my humble opinion. Matt, any thoughts on this one?
Well, now, other than the one I have to share is actually kind of similar to that one.
All right, there you go.
So I'll kind of springboard into mine because, well, number one, you know where mine is located. You know where mine's located? You got to guess this, Mark.
Is it still in that Matt to Mark drive?
No. Where's the form? Where was the form built? Where does the form live? It's in Google Sheets, of course.
Oh, okay. All right.
Everything's in Google Sheets.
Okay, well, because your life is in Google Sheets, so that's fine. You basically you're their poster board
built by a mathematician, even though I'm not a mathematician.
You're the poster board. You're the poster board they never knew they had or needed. That's what you are. Google Sheets.
Now, I will say the one that we're currently using is in Canva, but
sure,
whatever. But no, honest, the when we sat down and we had a
Who's the we? Who's the we here? Tell us
my
about that.
administration
Okay.
and I sat down and looked at the observation form that we had. And it's kind of like that sheet where there's just a list of things like, do we even care about some of these things that are on here? And even the one I'm looking at right now, I know if we've tweaked even more, but I want to start with this one because we boiled it down to three topics: the teacher, the students, and the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Just those three things. Obviously, we care a little bit more about the teacher, so there's a few more things that we're looking for from the teacher. But literally, it is just a simple list of, I think there's eight things for the teacher, 3 things for the students, and 4 things for the classroom. Like pretty short list. There's a box for for comments, but like I said, it's not so much that we want to be filling out that whole sheet of here's a good comment for that, here's a good comment for that. The comments are really for anything that we see that we either want to highlight and praise or we want to make sure we bring up and talk about. And then a rating system, which is a simple, I think that was a not observed all the way to a 4 for excellent and
Mm-hmm.
the rating scales, but it's a simple rating scale too. But the couple things that I know are typically maybe not included with like a template that you'll see, and we talk about this one because we've changed how we want this to be included. But on my list, it has biblical integration.
Mm.
You familiar with that term there, Mark?
We better have that. We
Biblical
are at a Christian
integration.
school, right? Yeah.
We would expect to see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, or I should say, thanks to our good friends over at Summit Ministry, we have been like, wait a minute. If a teacher knows that we're coming in to find biblical integration, they're going to be forcing the Bible into everything. And is that what we want?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's actually something we've changed. Not so much we just want to see them integrating the Bible into the lesson plan. That would be something maybe expected from the lesson plan. But we want to see a Christ-like manner and a clear tie to biblical worldview. Okay.
Mm.
Clear tie, we're not integrating or filling the Bible in wherever we can. So that's just something I know, just when you're going in and looking for it, and you know, I just want to see it, so force it in there. That's not it. I want genuineness. I want this to be so easy for my faculty. So, biblical integration is just one of those things. And another thing that I was going to put on here, um, when it comes to the classroom in particular, of course you're going to look that, make sure it's decorated nice in the classroom. It's set up for a good learning environment. But uh, I think this is asked of us in AACS whenever you're being reviewed for accreditation. Is the classroom obviously Christian? It's kind of the same thing. I don't want random Bible verses just placed around the classroom just to check that off. I
Mm.
want to see purposeful biblical worldview, perhaps your school's theme, perhaps the mission statement, something to that effect. I want to see purposeful, tying it in with we are obviously Christian, and we obviously have a purpose in what we're doing. So even when it comes to the decor, I know I'm kind of tying those two things together with the biblical integration in the lesson, but also in the decor. I don't want to just check that one off. I want there to be a clear understanding of purposeful placement. And so, looking for those things. I know those typically aren't going to be on your toolkits. If you go to ChatGPT and say, make me one, they're probably not going to make you one unless you're saying make one for a Christian school. Then they might.
Right. So Matt made a couple points there about especially the biblical integration being a massive part of whatever your tool looks like. You need to make sure the biblical integration is a big part of it at your Christian school. We were discussing other tools that we have access to or have utilized in the past. And on an accreditation team, you are handed the tool you are supposed to use. Interestingly, though, you're supposed to use that and then burn them. They are not at all supposed to be, not only not taken with you, but they're not supposed to be a part of a discussion about a certain teacher. They're supposed to be pieces of evidence building up the case for whatever the recommendation is going to be, one way or the other, for the school or for some, whichever standard you're talking about. If you're not seeing the mission, or if the mission is not a regular part of what is being observed in the classroom, either by their recognition as a teacher or by wall placement or something, that should be brought up under standard number 1 when we're talking about mission and governance. So there are accreditation specific observation forms that maybe you just want to pull that one. So and actually the one for AACS is valuable, easy to use. It has, I think, maybe 5 rows split up into a couple of different columns, but very easy to. We only have 15-minute windows. We're only supposed to take like 15-minute windows for those observations, and I have no problem filling it out in that time while still being very engaged with the person. I will make that note: 20 minutes is a long time in a classroom.
Yeah.
It's a long time in a classroom. If
Mhm.
you are actively engaged, it's a long time in a classroom. It is, arguably, I know the teachers are on edge, but the students will forget about you in the classroom in 20 minutes. They will not remember that you're there unless the teacher is a different kind of way. I had students that would tell me that when I got observed, I got more funny. They said like you turned it up a notch, or you started being dumber. It's like, okay, well, I don't feel that, but I guess you're the one sitting here, so I'll take
It's
your word
especially
for it.
great whenever they say that when the observer is in the room.
Yeah, seriously. Like, hey,
Like,
why are you
oh, you're
being
going to be
funnier
smart
today?
now because
Yeah.
because that guy's here. Like, you are done. Yeah,
Disregard that.
and I guess that made me think of another thing that would be valuable with these forms. Usually, you're going to have that. I'm observing this teacher at this time, and maybe you're purposefully going. I know for us at accreditation, we're trying to go and see particular types of classes.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm trying to go see an English class. So, I don't want to go see Miss Johnson when she's teaching art, or I don't want to go see her when she's teaching Bible. I want to see her English class. And so maybe you're going specifically to just see that subject being taught. But I would also purpose to get there during a transition. Not to see the whole English lesson. That would be valuable in and of itself. But I want to see maybe the end of the English lesson and the transition over into math. I want to see a little bit more of that, and then you're not going to see that every time. So maybe that's not something you want to have like handles transitions well. And maybe you can just let that live on the form and you only deal with it if you observe it. But that would be something else when you're choosing a time that I'm going to be observing something out of the ordinary in the class. And so I can speak to that too.
Yeah. Walking away from this conversation, we didn't give you a tool to start with. We did point out a few, and remember, we started with the first 3 that we looked at were actually live. So go to YouTube or go to Spotify and actually see the ones we're talking about, or reach out to us. We'll send them to you. Matt could send you what it is that he's working on. You could get a hold of the one from your accrediting body by reaching out to your accrediting body. But before all that, if you truly are looking, and the reason there are so many examples of these is because you probably want to identify, and I would even challenge you to go ahead and identify what is the most meaningful thing to your school. What are the most meaningful pieces of observation for your school? If your school could care less about academics, or
That would be interesting.
if your school could care less about the classroom management, if your school could care less about the teacher being in dress code, or whatever it happens to be that's on a standard tool, like, okay, well then don't make a big deal about that and go and observe what you actually want to see. And you should know yourself as a leader as well. You should know the things that you need to make a bigger deal about than you're not, or the things that you are majoring on and you really do want to make sure these things are covered. So in so much as there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to pull the information from other tools, making your own is not that big. It's not only that, not difficult. you're the one who then will be translating that into the rest of whatever your process looks like, because this should never be a walk in, I have the tool, it's in their file, it's done process. That helped. Might as well not even
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
You might as well not do the observations other than to say I do them. You might as well not do the observations. Like this leads to step 3, which leads to step 4, which then takes you back to the start of the cycle and takes
Hmm.
you through the cycle again. So,
Yep.
that being said, a couple of final thoughts from me. Be willing to make your own. Review what you and your administration, your leadership, yourself really do want to see out of your teachers. Go and make that what your form looks like, and then make sure that your form fits your process. Which is to say, make sure you have a process as well, that
Hmm.
you actually, you take the observation, you let them see it, you review it with them, you put it in their file, you have that professional development, actual, like, these are the 2 things you're gonna work on between now and the next time I see you, which is a part of your 1, your 2-year observation, because we're not getting rid of formal observations. It's like high stakes testing, I say, it's like assessments. While we could poke holes in them from now till doomsday, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be in the classroom watching what your teachers
Right.
do, because that makes far less sense. So, I think I've said all
It,
I'm gonna say about that.
yeah. If it scares you or you don't know how to start to create your own, which I mean, we're in education, so we're creating this kind of stuff all the time. But let me just point you to 2 places that I think are like no brainers. This is your starting point. Number 1, your mission statement.
Mhm,
I mean, if you have clarified why you exist as a school, then you use that to ensure your teachers are doing what you're setting out to do. So your mission statement may actually provide you with all you need to be checking up on your teachers. But number 2 is the contracts. Like, what do you ask your teacher? What do you have your teacher sign off? Like, I will faithfully, blah 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 blah. Just start from
mhm,
there and just go through your contract and be like, okay, they're supposed to be at school on time. Okay, I'm going to check on that. Are they on time? I'm going to make sure I'm presenting the gospel clearly. Are they presenting? You can just go through your
mhm.
contract, which is kind of maybe killing 2 birds with one stone because maybe you're asking things on your contract that you don't
Yep.
actually require your parents or your teachers to do. So get it out of the contract,
Or
or
you want
maybe
to
you're
highlight that you
not
do.
asking them enough, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are 2 places to get started, and nothing against templates because templates are going to give you a lot of good ideas. You probably go to teachers conferences like we were asked at KCA about this, so you know you probably get other ideas at other places. That's fine, but whenever you're sitting down and you're saying this is what matters to us, then you're going to have a little bit more motivation to ensure that that is
Mhm,
happening. And of course your teacher is going to understand, that's why they want to see this. It's not
mhm,
just, oh yeah, I'm being observed today, so I need to make sure I'm doing this today because I have to do that.
mhm.
It makes sense. It's bringing us all into this onto the same page.
Absolutely. It's time for our Christian Administrator Spotlight, and that goes out today to Jacqueline Alcasa. Jacqueline Alcasa is at Bright Star Preschool, and this is in San Bruno, California. And interestingly, Jacqueline, you can find her on YouTube. And like many of us, one of the reasons we went to YouTube or others went to YouTube was because of COVID. And we started recording different things. And you can actually go to COVID, and she has a public channel, and you can see 5 or 6 videos, including her offering chapel with her partner in this preschool to the preschoolers during COVID. So you can go check that out. But Jacqueline, Matt's going to pray for you and your Bright Star preschool there in San Bruno, California, Christian school there in San Bruno, California.
All right, Father, we thank you again for another opportunity to uplift a fellow worker in our great calling in our ministry of Christian education. I pray for Jacqueline that you would just continue to encourage her, support her through her work there in San Bruno. And I pray that you would just bring her the faculty that would be helpful to see that ministry grow, to ensure the mission there is being met. And I just pray that you be with Jacqueline personally, whatever worries or concerns may be in her life right now. I pray that you would just bring answers, bring comfort, bring encouragement in any way that that she may need to be strong and continue on pleasing you, bring you honor and glory in all this. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Everybody, thanks for coming out and being with us today for this episode. I want to remind you, around the time this episode drops, you should be looking for a new website from the Christian Principles Podcast, a new, more usable, user-friendly website, one that'll stack a lot of what we have going on, make it easier for you to see what other offerings we have at conference speakers, so on and so forth. But also, we will have crossed the YouTube threshold for 100 subscribers, which we're pumped about. And we are well on our way to our 500 follower goal by the end of the upcoming year. We might have to re-up that follower count, hopefully, Lord willing, at some point. So for all that and so much more, thank you all for coming out, and thank you for growing with us today.
Boom diggity. We want to thank you for listening. We're honored that you spend this time with us each week. Our heart is to bring you practical conversations and resources that really serve you as a Christian school leader. One of the best ways you can help us spread the word is by leaving us a review and sharing the podcast with other Christian school principals you're connected with. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join the conversation and share any posts that resonate with you. Every share makes a difference in helping more leaders find encouragement and practical tools. And remember, the podcast is just one way we help. We also love serving schools through speaking and workshops. Our keynotes and sessions are designed to give you actionable strategies you can take back to your team and implement right away. If you'd like more details, just send us an email at info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to connect. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Christian Principles Podcast.